Hi, everybody. I want to focus a little bit this week on mostly writing and a combination of writing mechanics, and I'll make a separate video for the paragraph for the introduction that I plan on talking about. So, for the moment, what you see in front of you is a super common error called a comma splice. So, this is truly probably the most common mistake that I see. And as I was reading your letters to the instructor, I noticed a lot of this. So I thought it would be worth talking about because it's a comment you might see on your essays when I give back a first draft, where I might say you have a comma splice or a run on, and you'll know exactly how to correct it. Okay. Okay. So what is a comma splice? If you look at this sentence, this is a clear example of one. And a lot of students might look at this and say, I don't get it. I don't see the mistake. But there is an overuse of commas here. So the sentence is Larry went to New York. He attended an art conference. So technically you cannot use a comma to connect two independent clauses. So when I say that, what I mean is that this part of the sentence is one clause and this part of the sentence is another clause, but they are both what we would call independent clauses. So I hope that that makes sense because I know I'm throwing out like a lot of terms here, but there are four solutions for this type of error. So the first one, the easiest thing you can do is change this comma to a period. So instead of saying, Larry went to New York, comma, Larry went to New York, period. He attended an art conference there. So again, that's you can see if you can use a period and both sentences are complete, that's what I mean by the two sides of the sentence, the clauses are independent. They don't need another part of the sentence to make it complete. Okay. Another thing you can do is use something called fanboys. Not everyone knows this, but fanboy stands for and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. We call those coordinated conjunctions. So if you're using one, yes, you do need a comma, but you have to have the conjunction. So in this case, it makes sense to use and of your choices here. That would make the most sense. Okay. So for any of these that you're going to use, you have to have a comma before the conjunction. Okay. And that would make that comma okay to use. Okay. Next, a semicolon. And a lot of students ask me, I never really knew how to use a semicolon, but here's a perfect example. So a comma cannot connect two independent clauses, but a semicolon can. And anytime I see my students use this, it actually makes me so happy to see this. So Larry went to New York, semicolon. He attended an art conference there. Okay, so just remember that's a perfect solution. The last one here is to connect using your independent clause and create a dependent clause using some of these words that you see down here. We call those conjunctive adverbs. So, for example, when Larry went to New York, comma, he attended an art conference. So now when you see this part here, when Larry went to New York, that is now a dependent clause. You actually need the rest of the sentence to finish this to make it grammatically correct. So what I meant up here, if I put a period here, when Larry went to New York, period, no, now you created a fragment, it doesn't work. So I hope that makes sense when I'm explaining dependent versus independent. Okay. So these are four solutions. I'm providing a list of the conjunctive adverbs for you. And I'm going to show you guys how I want you to practice this. And I'm going to give you some sentences for homework. And you're going to follow my example right here. Okay. So you're going to use the four solutions. The easiest thing you can do. Okay. Oops, I did not mean to do that. I kind of forgot I was on a Mac for a second. Okay. I always just copy paste. I'm going to copy paste 4 times actually, because you're creating 4 solutions, which actually, let's do one more. Okay. So we know the first one, the first solution is the students were late, comma, they did not have time to finish the test. So this is no good. So you can make a period. You can go back up here. You need a fanboys, if you remember. Solution number 2 is one of these conjunctions. So I think here an appropriate one that works is so they did not finish. They did not have time to finish the test. If you guys wanted to use and there, that works as well. Okay. Here's another solution here. Take away the comma. If you guys remember, you're going to use, oops, you're using a semicolon. Oh, I just put a regular colon. Okay. So that's your semicolon. That works. And then the final one is going to be using one of these words. Okay. You'll see up here, they didn't give a good example here, but I want to show you what it looks like if you're using one of these in the middle. Okay. I'm going to use, based on the sentence, I think there's a couple I could use. I'm going to use therefore. Okay. All right. This is a fancy trick. Teachers love it if you're doing this. Okay. So the students were late, semicolon, therefore, comma, they did not have time to finish the test. So that's a great way to show that you know how to make a really well constructed sentence, like a formal sentence. So whenever I'm teaching, it's not that I'm not trying to convince my students to be writers. I understand that not everyone wants to do that, but every job is going to require you to write emails, reports. It might even surprise you at how much your future occupation could ask you to write. So I really care about teaching my students to construct well grammatically written sentences. So I do like to spend time on this, okay, especially if I'm seeing the mistake often. So these are your solutions. I'm going to put this one. Sorry, everybody. I really keep forgetting that I'm at home and on a Mac versus the PC at work. Okay, sorry. All right, so original sentence is the error with the comma splice, and these are your 4 solutions. Okay, so you might want to print this document out or open a separate tab so you have this in front of you when you're doing your homework. So I've given you 5 comma splice sentences, and your job is to fix them in the 4 ways that I have shown you. Okay. So for every comma splice sentence, you will provide 4 solutions. Okay. All right. I hope this helps. And then email if you have any questions about this. Okay. Be happy to meet virtually as well.